Greetings and welcome to Your Positive Lens, where we hope to adjust your focus so you see that members of your local law enforcement community are not much different than you and me. I'm your host, Scott T., and this is episode 10, Police and Fire Department Collaboration. In this final episode of 2024, you will hear several positive law enforcement news stories, including the importance of cross-departmental collaboration between law enforcement and the fire department that was necessary to free a trapped horse, plus a wonderful letter of appreciation that truly speaks to the value of the great officers that make up your local law enforcement community. Let's get started. Recently, in Columbus, Georgia, an apartment building caught fire. The flames were fierce and breaching a lower unit, where an elderly woman and two others were trapped. The first person on the scene was Officer Millhiser of the Columbus, Georgia Police Department, who had to quickly assess the situation and respond accordingly. Without a doubt in his mind, Officer Millhiser raced into the burning apartment building, where he was able to rescue all three individuals, which included carrying out the elderly woman. The heroic efforts and quick response of Officer Millhiser may have very well saved the lives of these three individuals. Thank you, Officer Millhiser of the Columbus, Georgia Police Department, for your bravery and heroism. Many of us like to crawl into a warm bed on a cold night, get comfortable by finding our perfect spot, and drifting off into dreamland. If we are lucky, the dogs won't bark, the kids won't wake us up early, and the neighbor won't be too loud on our day off. Fortunately for us, those warm, cozy spots are in a bed, and are not as dangerous as the cozy warmth from the engine of a car. As we have spoken about in the past, our pets are also members of the community that law enforcement serves. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in Hillsborough County, Florida, stepped into action this past week to help save a terrified kitten that was trapped inside the engine of a car, even having to use a jack to complete the rescue. Thank you, members of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, for your continued efforts to serve all members of the community. Let's continue to stay with the animal rescue, but add in the importance of not just communication, but cross-departmental communication. Many times in work organizations, especially in remote roles, individuals tend to work in silos, failing to communicate with the departments that are vital to the success of the organization, or more importantly, the people they serve. Fortunately, those silos did not exist in Fort Worth, Texas, or we would not be sharing this positive law enforcement news story. If you recall from the interview with Master Patrolman Larry Smith several weeks ago, who has spent a lifetime working with and training horses, that a horse, as beautiful and majestic as they are essentially prey on four legs that will flight before they fight. Unfortunately, in a Fort Worth area, an stray horse was found with three legs stuck in a cattle guard. Now, for those unfamiliar with a cattle guard, it is essentially a metal grid, usually covering a ditch, that will allow vehicles and people to pass over, but not cattle or other animals, such as the horse. The Tarrant County Sheriff's Office LEAP Unit, also known as Livestock Estray Enforcement Program, which consists of 3 deputies and 3 horses, typically respond to calls of loose livestock. In this situation, the unit alone could not rescue the horse, and reached out to the Fort Worth Fire Department for assistance, where Rescue 38 responded. To execute the rescue, while avoiding the further spooking and risk of great injury, or worse, to the horse, the deputies had to sedate the horse, which allowed the rescue crew the opportunity to cut and spread the cattle guard. And after 45 stressful minutes, they were able to ultimately free the 3 stuck legs. However, This was not the end of the rescue, as the horse was still sedated. The crew needed to use a skid steer to move the horse off the road, where he was eventually able to stand up and be loaded into a trailer. Remarkably, the horse appears to have avoided major injury, despite the dangerous situation he was found in and the challenging rescue that ensued. Thank you to both the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office LEAP Unit and the Fort Worth Fire Department for this remarkable rescue. The cross-departmental collaboration of your respective departments is an example of the greater outcomes that can be achieved when we work together. Again, thank you both for setting this wonderful example. Members of the law enforcement community receive departmental awards and accolades for their accomplishments within the department, in their service to the community, and when they display heroic actions. However, some of the greatest appreciation an officer can receive is when a member of the community they serve recognizes them and shares their appreciation with the department they work for. Sergeant Richardson of the Baltimore Police Department has received just that. The wonderful letter of the appreciation reads, "I am writing to express my sincere gratitude and admiration for the exceptional work of Sergeant Richardson, who has made a significant impact on my community in recent days. Since August 22nd, I have been reaching out to the police department in my district to report ongoing criminal and nuisance-like activity in the alleyway alongside my house. Despite my repeated calls, no apparent progress was made, and the presence of drug addicts and dealers in the area persisted. My hope for a resolution was dwindling. That all changed when Sergeant Richardson took immediate action after hearing my concerns. She not only listened attentively to the issues I was facing, but also empathized deeply with my situation. She demonstrated a remarkable ability to put herself in my shoes, offering practical tips on how I could help mitigate the problem. What truly set Sergeant Richardson apart was her dedication to follow through. She returned the next day to post in the alleyway, an action that has significantly deterred the nuisance activity. Her care, compassion, and commitment to resolving this issue has been nothing short of exemplary. I am incredibly thankful for Sergeant Richardson's efforts. Her professionalism embodies the kind of leadership and dedication that the city of Baltimore needs to reach its true potential. In a time when I was losing hope, Sergeant Richardson restored my faith in the effectiveness and compassion of our police force. I believe her actions should be recognized and commended as they reflect the highest standards of service to our community. Thank you, Sergeant Richardson of the Baltimore Police Department. Your display of empathy, follow-through, and compassion for this concerned citizen illustrates just how powerful the actions of law enforcement are and how much of a positive impact you can have on the community outside of fighting crime. Thank you again, Sergeant Richardson. To all the departments and officers recognized in this episode, thank you for your service to the citizens and animals of the communities you serve. Your unwavering commitment to the highest standards of excellence, service, and respect are not taken lightly. As this is our final episode of 2024, we want to thank all of our followers, guests, and those who have listened and supported our first 10 episodes. Your continued support and sharing of the Your Positive Lens podcast is vital to our growth and sharing of our mission. We have several wonderful guests lined up for 2025 and look forward to bringing them to you, along with more positive law enforcement news stories. We wish all of our listeners and the entire law enforcement community a safe, healthy, and happy New Year. Go to LinkedIn and Facebook today to repost and share our episode. Help us spread the mission to to all of your friends, family, and followers. Remember, you can always find places that will share negative law enforcement news stories, but here at Your Positive Lens, you will only find your positive law enforcement news stories. Once again, I'm your host, Scott T. Thanks for listening, and we'll capture you on the next Your Positive Lens.